Welcome back to my channel. My name is Juditha, and on this channel, we talk about all things mindset. We talk about those limiting beliefs. We talk about that self doubt. We talk about all of those things that matter that are going on inside of you as you're trying to create your dream life. Because I'm trying to do the same thing. So I'm just giving you guys all the tips and tricks that are working for me. On this video, we are going to talk about specifically things that I have trained my mind to do over the years that have really like changed my life, improved the way I think, improved like me being more disciplined, more consistent. Just like these are the core things that have changed for me and in me that have literally helped me to like change everything else around me. So let's just get into the first tip. The first thing that I trained my mind to do that really helped me was to focus on solutions more than I focused on problems. Now, this one is very self explanatory, but like we do this a lot. Like most of us, the problems that we have, we think about them so much. We don't even realize that it's the fact that that's all you're thinking about. Like that is the reason why you have not found a solution for it yet. Like I literally would be so like sad. I'd be so stressed out. I'd feel so like just stressed because I would feel like I'm not managing my money right. I feel like I never had enough. Like I'd feel like my rent was too much. And these are the things that I would focus on. Like I would focus on these things, like not having enough, having to work this job, having to get up early, having to do these things. Like I was focusing on all these things that actually weren't solving the problem, right? And it wasn't until I finally said to myself, like, listen, you can continue to stress, like, you can do that. Of course, you can continue to think about the problem, but when are you going to realize that thinking about the problem literally has never solved the problem? Like, when are you going to realize that thinking about the problem is not going to free up the space in your mind, in your brain that you need to be freed up in order to think of the solutions that you want? So I came to that conclusion. I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to think about these problems anymore. I'm going to look for the solutions. If I don't have enough, what can I do to make more? Do I need to spend less? Do I need to move out? Do I need to, have lower rent? Like, what is it that I can change about my environment or about my situation to make this problem go away or to at least alleviate the stress that I feel because of this problem? And when I started to look in that direction, when I started to say, here's what I really can do, regardless if I was actually willing to do it or not, when I started to look for the solutions, they started to come, right? And I started to have to make these choices that weren't always ideal. Like they weren't always what I wanted to do in the moment. But looking back, like there's nothing I would have changed about the decisions I made, like moving back home, spending less, getting another job, like whatever it is I had to do in that moment, even if it didn't feel good then, trust me when I say it feels good now. Like I'm so glad I made those choices because I would not be here if I was not there first. And that's something else that we all have to remember. Like your journey is perfectly synced, is perfectly in sync with who you are and who you need to become. Okay, who you need to become when you say that you want something, when you pray for more, when you pray for bigger things. Trust me, the journey is made to make you into the person who can have those things. And you have to change your perspective to see it that way. Okay. Now, the second thing I train my mind to do is to look for the lesson in everything that didn't work out for me or didn't work out as planned. Instead of being a victim of it, like instead of saying to myself, damn, like this isn't working out, I didn't get that job, or this didn't happen the way I wanted to, this relationship isn't going the way I wanted to, like I stopped being a victim of all the things that were happening to me because at the time that's what it felt like. It felt like all these things were happening to me. And I started to see how could this have happened for me? How am I better because of this? How am I stronger because of this? How did this make me stronger? You know what I mean? Because there's always a lesson to be learned if you choose to find the lesson in everything. And you have so much control over that. It's not easy to have that perspective. It's not easy to be someone who is not a victim of all the things that are going wrong in their life because the easy path is to be a victim, right? That is the easier path, like to just give up and to say, of course I can't do these things because look at my life. Look at what I lack. Look at what I don't have. Look at the support that I don't have. Like it's so much easier to let those things be the reason why you can't or why you haven't. Okay? So when you decide that you want more and you want better, you have to also decide that you're going to start to see things differently. You're going to start to see your challenges differently. The third thing I trained my mind to do was to stop looking at failure as something I needed to be afraid of, because the only way you really learn sometimes is by failing. And the fastest way you learn is by failing, right? Like, because every time you fail, you have the opportunity to learn what you did wrong, or you have the opportunity to learn what you could have done better. And that is just how I started to look at things. Like, once I graduated and I realized that, I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want to be in this career field my whole life. When I made those decisions, I started to, open my mind to, okay, what can I do in this life? Like, what can I do? What can I give to the world? How can I make money? So I tried different things, and not everything worked, but every time I try something, I learned something every time. And I could have looked at all those experiences and said, damn, like, I'm just not lucky. Like, I should just give up. Like, this shit is just not working for me. I could have done that. But no, if it didn't work out for me, or if I saw that I was just being lazy, or not disciplined, or whatever the case, I just use every experience that I had, whether I failed or I succeeded. That is a moment for me to learn. That is a moment for me to improve and to become better. So that is how I started to look at failure. And when you look at failure like that, it becomes less scary. Like, you become less fearful of trying new things. You become less fearful of jumping out of your comfort zone, because you know that you have nothing to lose by failing. This is just a perspective that you get to choose. Okay, you have to choose it. Everything that I'm saying here is up to you to choose to believe and to choose to see it that way, because the perspective that you have, if it's serving you, then keep it. But if it's not, if it's keeping you in this limited identity with these limiting beliefs, then 100% I would recommend that you start to choose to believe different things, and that you just start to choose to see your life in a different way. And that is literally the name of the game. If you can learn to manage your mind, if you can learn to start to see things that most people would see as a challenge, things that most people would see as an obstacle, as a hindrance, like, if you look at those things and you can see them for what they could be, opportunities to learn, opportunities for growth, opportunities to do better. When you think like that, you move differently, and you become part of the, what, 20-25% of the people in this world who actually go after their dreams, who actually do the things that they say they're going to do, regardless of the fear that they feel. So, absolutely, you might fail, but you do not have to make it mean anything about you. You don't have to make it mean that this is the end. You do not have to make it mean that you as a person suck and you shouldn't try again. Take the lesson, take the blessing, whatever it is, take it, learn from it, and move on, okay? Now, the fourth thing that I train my mind to do is to start loving what I see in the mirror for exactly what it is. This is a lesson that has literally taken me years to learn. And even today, like, I still have to remind myself, because, of course, like, looking around me, there are so many beautiful women, like, on social media. There's so many different body types, there's so many different styles, there's so many things that you start to compare yourself, right? You start to look at what they have or how they look, and it's very true what they say, like, comparison is the thief of joy, because when you only ever feel less than, you only ever feel not good enough, if you have something to measure yourself up against, if you're measuring yourself up against someone else, right? But it's within your ability, it's within your control to set your own standards, okay? If your body type looks like this, do not try to make it look like this. Like, do not look in the mirror and get upset when the image you have in your mind and the image that is reflecting back to you, like, when those two images don't align, and you start to feel the friction, and you start to feel the disappointment, like, nothing has gone wrong here. What you have to realize is that you just have expectations for yourself because you are comparing yourself to someone else, okay? But you get to set the standard. You get to set the rules. You get to say, you know what? My body as it is, I love it. My face as it is, I love it. My arms, my legs, like, whatever it is as it is, I love it. And if there's something that you really don't like, if you're able to do something about it to change it, then change it. If you need to work out more, then work out more. If you need to take vitamins, then take vitamins. Like, if you want to clear up your skin, like, whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it. But try to focus on what is in your control, and simply let go of what isn't. Okay, simply let go of what isn't. And that's easier said than done. I get it. But if there is something that you cannot change or that you refuse to change, then you just have to live with it. You have to live with it and you have to accept it. So accept yourself for exactly what you are right now, even as you're going to be better, even as you're going into new things, even as you're working on your body, as you're working on your mind. Like, who you are right now is okay. Like, it's good enough as well, because this version of you had to bring you here. This version of you did bring you here. It got you this far. So if you want to change anything about yourself, do that, but do it because you love yourself and not because you hate parts of yourself. That's all I'm saying. So this was a very quick video. Those are just the 4 things that I've trained my mind to do that have really, really like improved my life, improved the way I look at things, and just overall improved everything about my mindset. And I say this all the time, but not a lot has to change for everything to change. If you are able to change the way you look at things, if you are able to change the way you feel, if you are able to start choosing the things that you believe with intention, your life will change automatically, because who you are will change. And when you change on the inside, everything outside of you will have no choice but to align with that new version of you. Okay, so that is it for today's video. Short and sweet. I hope you bloomed today, because I know I did. And I will see you guys on the next one.